Good morning. Okay, I was going to shoot a video to relax Chloe's nerves about sewing with the ruler foot. I have at present the QB-S foot holder and the 1600p ruler foot. This is the combination that I am using for now until I get the QR ruler foot myself. I don't know if that helps see any better there. So I've started totally from scratch here so that I don't leave any steps out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to remove the foot that was already on this and attach the ruler foot. This ruler foot is for the 1600p machine, okay, and it's made for frame quilting, but in this case it doesn't matter because it doesn't have a directional opening like this foot. The 1600p foot set does come with an open toe foot, and it won't work on this machine unless you're frame quilting, because when you're frame quilting you're using the machine in another direction and you need the opening at another direction. So it's not much help to us on the 9400 if we're sewing or quilting normally with it. Forgive me here. A little bit chilly in here today. My hands are locking up. Not that this is easy on a good day. Last time I didn't put it on tight. Oh, naturally. Alright. I turned the video off for a minute because the minute the video is on I become a bumblefinger. Alright. So, also I want to show you, if you can see for now, what my husband has done is he has cut the front out of my ruler foot, much like the QR ruler foot. It's a little bit of a semicircle or a V cut out of the front, so the visibility is better. Because it's not half the width of the foot or more, it's not going to jump over a ruler. So we're not worried about it. That's what the worry is and why the wall of the foot is so high. And it's the height of this foot that makes it dangerous for our machine. The lower feet that come with the QB-S holder, because they're low profile, they have no danger of hitting the needle bar. This is the only foot that has that danger. And so you'll have dealers who will say don't use this holder, probably because they're associating it with the ruler foot being used and don't want you to have an accident for which you will be liable yourself out of warranty. So I've done nothing here. I've left everything normally the way it is. I'm going to pop off the foot I was using. I want you to imagine that I've already replaced my bobbin, my bobbin holder, which I have. I pressed the lockout key. I've popped the needle plate, and I've put in the blue dot bobbin holder for free motion quilting. With ruler quilting this is helpful. However, I am using 60 weight bobbin thread and 40 weight in my needle. So whenever you're using different weight threads, the blue dot bobbin holder can be helpful. Runny nose. So cold in here. Ow. Bumble fingers. So I'll pop this off. There we go. Mode first. That's usually what I do. I'm going to go to the t-shirt. Okay, I'm going to scroll over until I get into the quilting mode. Free quilting. And then I'm going to select straight stitch number 2. My feed dogs would normally say to me, lower your feed dogs, but I was already free quilting. So my feed dogs are already lowered. That's why I didn't get that notice on my screen. While you're here, make sure that your auto pivot, auto lift is off. Mine was off, but if it's lit up yellow, it's on. You want no color in your auto lift. That tells you it's off. Okay, I'm going to attach my ruler foot now. After I set foot down, there we go. So what I'm going to do is put an X on a piece of tape I still have to thread it. I'm going to press my lockout button to thread it because it opens the tension discs. I'm trying to do this without sitting in front of my machine, so you have to bear with me here as I reach over. Okay. And because I have a small needle in my needle holder, I have to manually thread because it's too small an eye for the needle threader. It could jam, and we don't want that to happen. I've learned to thread without the needle threader if need be. As optically challenged as I am, there we go. There we go. Okay, so I'm all threaded up here. I'm going to get my other accessories out of the way so I can unlock it now. Okay, I've got my needle threaded. I threaded it manually because it's a 70 microtex needle. That's what I was using when I was quilting on my silk. I am going to put a piece of tape over my up-down button because this could make the foot hit the needle bar inadvertently. I don't want to use this. Before, when I was setting this up, I lowered this foot, okay, to make sure that it was in the lowest position and it wasn't going to hang too high because you don't want to be using this with the foot on while you're ruler quilting. I'm going to adjust my foot height. My automatic setting is at 1.5. I want it somewhere around 0.3, 0.4 should be okay. Of course, I'm going to do a test before I actually do any good sewing. So I'm in free quilting, okay, which gives you an automatic 0 stitch length, tension's automatic. Straight stitch number 2, auto lift is off. My foot height is configured. I'm not using my foot down electronic button at all, okay? I'm all attached here. I'm threaded. I kind of have a dyslexic thought process when the camera's on for some reason. I can't explain it, but that's the way it is. So if I need to get it up, I'm going to use my lever now. I'm not going to use the electronic button, okay? Just like older sewing machines, you wouldn't have that, so you do it all manual. And we should be able to use a manual process. It shouldn't scare us to do that. This is what makes it safe. So I will try to make you a written list of these steps, possibly in an order that isn't so scattered as my brain at the moment, so you can go through them at your own speed and you won't have to remember them from a video. So I'm going to test this here, okay? I'm going to pull it through. It's a little snug. I might want to adjust that a little more up. The silk quilted sandwich I was using before was a little bit thinner. So let's try that, 0.4. That's better. See, it's just ever so much, ever so slightly touching the fabric, but it's not impeding the moving motion. So I'm going to try that. I'm at 0.4. I have 2 layers of cotton here with a thin cotton batting. So, and I'm at 0.4 foot height. So I'm going to stop here, move the camera so Chloe can see that I'm sewing and not getting an angry red screen. That no disaster is happening when I'm sewing. Okay? Okay, I've moved the camera over. I hope the lighting is adequate. Not sure that's necessary or not. Again, I have movement here, so I'm content with that. Before I do any good sewing, I always use a test piece anyways. I think that's a good policy. You want to check your tension, your thickness of your batting, and make sure your stitches are well formed. I'm no pro, but I'll tell you what, I've read a lot, okay? If I can't do it myself, I'm reading what the people in the know are saying. So that's the only reason I know anything, is because I read a lot. A lot of you do a lot more actual sewing than I do. So to start, I'm going to manually lower my, not manually, I'm going to lower my button with the electronic up and down. I said before to not use it. I was mistaken. It's the foot up and down. There's my dyslexic brain on, when the video's on. I can't think straight. It's like I'm on the spot. I would never be a good actor, that's for sure. I'm going to adjust my speed here to about middle. I'm going to lower my foot to sink it in. Okay. I'm going to lower it up. I'm going to raise it up. And I'm going to pull the threads through. Okay, I'm going to manually raise my foot, pull these threads through. Right in there. There we go. Come on. There you go. That's it. There we go. Okay, it's all pulled through. I got the fine 60 weight in the bobbin and the 40 weight in the needle. At this point, you want to lower the rear lever and drop the needle, and do it in that order. Although you may not hit the needle bar because your foot height adjustment has been lowered, it is a safe practice. There we go. And I'm ready to sew, Chloe. Here you go. Okay? Brace yourself, girl. It's coming. Alright. So I'm going to do a couple stitches here before I actually move the needle. Alright, Chloe, see? Has anything drastically gone wrong here yet? Okay, I'm going to stop here for a minute. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to show you my gypsy quilter. Where's my snippies? When you do stop, and you can freely see your tails, if you like, this is just a practice piece. I do this when thread stitching. You can cut them. If you were quilting, you probably wouldn't want to cut your ends. You would probably want to properly bury them, tie them and bury them. And this gives your quilt more support so that at some point it doesn't unravel by top stitching. So I'm going to put my gypsy quilter on, and from here on in, I'm still wearing my gloves though, I'm going to be moving the gypsy quilter. Okay, needle up, and here we go. It has little grippies on the bottom that make moving the fabric a little easier. Less tension on the arms. However, when you get close to the edge of the gypsy quilter, you have to stop and reposition it. Okay, I'm going over there on purpose. I know you can't see. At this point, I have to move the gypsy quilter, okay? And continue. Oh, she doesn't like that angle. Because there's a V cut out of the front of my 1600p ruler foot, I have very good clarity. Even though I'm looking over top, nothing is obscured. Just like the QR ruler foot has a cut out of it. Alright, I'm going to get brave on camera. Not sure why, but I'm going to. I'm just going to do a sample stitch here. And if I flub it up, I do. If I don't, I don't. Okay? A little close. It is a little close. Now this foot combination is perfectly fine, and it's of my opinion that the update to the 9400 that does implement the QR ruler foot, will also work for this foot and holder combination. There's no reason why it shouldn't. Just like other feet can use modes that are already programmed. For instance, I can use other attachments for the QB-S holder under the QO/QC straight stitch function, okay? Or I can use, I'll have to pull the foot out to show you. So this foot attaches to my QB-S foot holder. So it would use zigzag stitch number 2, which is a non-hopping selection. Straight stitch number 1 or zigzag stitch number 1 are both hopping stitch modes. Once you know that, any high shank hopping foot that is compatible with this machine will work on that mode, okay? Likewise, any non-hopping foot attachment, any one of these 3 here, okay, that work on the QB-S holder, will work on straight stitch number 2 because it's a non-hopping mode, okay? And these 2 feet will work on a non-hopping zigzag stitch number 2 because number 2 on the free quilting is non-hopping. Number 1 on the free quilting is a hopping mode, darning, okay? It uses the PDH foot. And you can tell because there's a picture at the bottom of the stitch example showing you the recommended foot. So the QC/QO feet are non-hopping floating feet, okay? They're supposed to float barely on the surface of the fabric, close enough to skim, but not to impede the motion. So that's what I've learned, and it works. So let's say I'm all done stitching here, okay? I want to finish up. I'm going to needle up. Okay, maybe take a couple more stitches, tie it off. Okay, needle up. I'm going to raise my foot. I'm going to pull my piece out. I'm going to use the thread cutter built into the side of the machine here. Leave myself some tails so I could tie them off. Pull the piece out. My handy dandy screwdriver. Okay, press my lockout stitch and remove my foot. Because if you turn your machine on, depending on your settings, in your general settings, it could reset and the foot could lift and hit the needle bar. So if you're done ruler quilting and you're going to turn your machine off, remove the ruler foot, or at least the foot attachment on the QB-S holder. Okay? Unlock. And there we go, okay? There was no damage done, and it was all done safely. So, that was the easy part, making the video. The hard part is going to be editing this on my Mac, and hoping it all makes sense. As I said, I'm going to try to make a little checklist in the order that you do things, so you can follow it manually when you're sewing, and not get confused. I'm very dyslexic on film, and I might not do everything in exactly the same order when I'm actually free quilting or have the ruler foot on, but I do all of those steps in that same basic order, even if I have to go back and do it because I had a spaz attack type of thing. Okay? So that's it. I'm going to turn us off here. I'm not afraid of anything hitting. And go edit the video. Have a great day. And everybody have some happy sewing. Alright, I just want to show you the back of my ruler quilting here. I have to adjust the lighting every time I want to do something here, but okay. So stitches are small, but I don't have any looping here. I see areas where, you know, a little wee bit of the top thread's coming through, but I would rather that than having the bobbin thread on the top. And that's with the blue dot bobbin holder with 60 weight bobbin thread and 40 weight Madeira on the top. My stitches are small, and I wasn't really concentrating here. I was too busy blabbing, but it turned out okay, and that's with the ruler foot. So you could even thread paint with the ruler foot. You know, you could freehand free motion stitch or outline with it. So it has a lot of options, and don't be afraid of it. You might want to pause the screen here to read through the steps. However, I will provide a PDF of this same information if you want to print it out and get used to the procedure. This will give you a little more confidence when ruler quilting until the update comes out to program it into our machines. I hope this is helpful. Have a great day.